And basically, Gary Neville did a Q&A this morning, and he was asked about whether Mark Goldbridge would ever go on the overlap, and he just replied, no. It's interesting because I did get invited on the overlap last year, and I said no myself. So I've already been invited, Gary, so I said no first. But the reason I said no was nothing to do with Gary Neville. It was to do with one of the people they have on the show who, to be honest, has tried to ruin my career for the last 7 years. And every time I see him in real life, he never says anything to me. So it's very difficult when somebody is sticking so many knives in your back. And then when you see them face to face, they don't dare say anything to you. I'm not somebody who's up for massively grabbing hold of somebody and having a confrontation. So when someone stabs me in the back, I expect them to say something to my face, and they never do. So I just said, no, it's uncomfortable sitting with someone like that. But, over the last few months, I've thought, more and more, I disagree with a lot of the things that get said on that programme, and specifically from Gary. So I was like, well, ultimately, we've got a massive platform. They've got a massive platform. Ultimately, whether you like me or you like Gary, it doesn't really matter. I think it would be a good conversation point because I think, the calling out of Bruno was bang out of order. And I think there's a conversation to be had there, but no, it gets swept under the carpet. I think, saying you want to sell De Gea but keep Solskjaer in a job when he was doing crap, I think it's a conversation point. And he probably could come at me with a few things. I think it would be very interesting. We only live once. We only have one life. And we do work in a space where ultimately people watch what we do. They might not like us, like I say, but they watch what we do. So a flat no, to me, I don't understand it. I have called him out on Twitter. He's more than welcome to call me out on Twitter, which he's sort of done today. But ultimately, I don't hold any personal issue with him. He's a legend of Manchester United. I wind people up on social media, and I've been doing it for years. I think I'm a good person. Everybody I meet, I get on with. After every show, I take the time. People are lining up. People might say it's sad for a photo. I don't charge them a fiver. I could be in backstage having a drink with everybody after being on stage for 2 hours. I line up and do a photo. I do my charity stream every year. I've raised over 100 grand. I shouldn't have to blow my own trumpet, but every brand we ever deal with says you're professional. We really like you. Yes, I have an ability to wind people up, but that's because I think you have to delve in and have the real conversations. What I find sad is that yet again in this industry, and I'm not just pointing at Gary Neville for this, because I know what goes on, yet again in this industry, we face a world which none of us wants to be in, and yet I'm the villain for it. Suppression. You've got people today backing Neville going, oh yeah, Goldbridge is a Forest fan, he's got no knowledge, good one, Gary. And I'm like, you are behaving like rats chasing the Pied Piper. You are being suppressed, because ultimately you might not like what I and the United stand does, but ultimately we actually do represent the lower class. We actually do represent the people punching above their weight. We actually do represent the people trying to have their voice heard, and actually they represent the champagne socialists. Oh, we're all about the people, but we'll close the door on certain people. We don't want that conversation. We don't want to put ourselves in a position where we might get exposed, or we're not confident enough to put ourselves in a position where we can have a debate. So what we'll do is we'll close the door to absolutely anybody who could come into this room and have a proper debate, and we will maintain the elitism in our group, because we'll all look after each other here, and that's producers, that's mainstream media. That's just the way it's been from the first day I did this. This is what it's always been. And the only people from my space who end up in there are the backstabbers and the smilers who will bend over backwards and won't ask those questions anyway. So look, ultimately, I respect the fact that I'm not going to get asked to do anything with Gary Neville, and I'm definitely not going to start begging for it, because that was not the point. I don't need to beg for it. We've got the biggest football fan community out there.